My wife's handmade bowl looked familiar. That's because 47 other people on Pinterest posted the exact same photo. Sometimes your intuition tells you something is wrong before your conscious mind can articulate why. When your wife shows you a photo of pottery she claims to have made and something about the image triggers a sense of familiarity, it's easy to dismiss that feeling as coincidence or imagination. After all, pottery bowls can look similar, and you've probably seen countless ceramic pieces online and in stores. But when that nagging sense of recognition leads you to investigate further, and you discover that the exact same photo has been posted by dozens of other people claiming it as their own work, that moment of vague familiarity transforms into undeniable proof that everything you've been told has been a carefully constructed lie. The internet has made it easier than ever to borrow someone else's life and present it as your own. With billions of images available across social media platforms, anyone can curate a false narrative supported by stolen photos that seem authentic to people who trust them. But the same digital ecosystem that enables this deception also creates permanent, traceable evidence. When the same image appears in multiple places with multiple people claiming ownership, it reveals not just individual dishonesty, but participation in a broader pattern of fraud that makes the lie even more calculated and deliberate. I'm Aaron, 39 years old, and I work as an architect for a commercial design firm in Minneapolis. My wife Hannah and I have been married for 9 years, together for 11. She's 37 and works as a communications director for a nonprofit organization. We own a house in a family-friendly suburb, have 2 sons aged 7 and 5, and what I believed was an honest, stable marriage built on shared values, mutual respect, and commitment to raising our children in a loving home. Hannah had always appreciated art and creativity, but had never pursued serious artistic hobbies during our relationship. She enjoyed visiting galleries and craft fairs, but she'd never taken formal classes or committed to developing skills in any particular medium. With 2 young children and demanding careers, neither of us had much time for hobbies that required regular, dedicated practice. About 7 months ago, that changed. Hannah announced that she decided to take pottery classes on Wednesday evenings at a local ceramic studio. I need something that's just for me, Hannah explained when she first told me about the classes. Something creative and meditative that's separate from being a mom and a communications director. Pottery seems perfect. It's hands-on, therapeutic, and I've always been fascinated by ceramics. I was completely supportive of Hannah's decision to pursue pottery. Being a working mother of 2 young boys was demanding, and having a creative outlet seemed like healthy self-care. I agreed to handle Wednesday evening duties with our sons, so Hannah could have dedicated time for her pottery classes. That sounds great, I said. How long are the classes? 7 to 9:30 on Wednesday evenings, Hannah replied. It's a small group, very focused and intensive. I'm excited to actually learn a real skill instead of just dabbling. The following Wednesday, Hannah's pottery routine began. She'd come home from work, have dinner with our family, and leave around 6:45 p.m. for her class. She'd return around 10 p.m., usually talking enthusiastically about what she'd worked on and showing me photos of her pottery projects. What made Hannah's pottery classes seemed particularly legitimate was the photographic documentation she provided. Every week or two, she'd show me pictures of pottery pieces she claimed to be creating: bowls, vases, cups, plates, in various stages of completion. The photos looked professional and showed beautifully crafted ceramic work that seemed consistent with someone who was learning and improving their skills over time. This is the bowl I'm working on, Hannah would say, showing me an image of a beautifully formed ceramic bowl with a smooth turquoise glaze. The instructor says my centering technique has really improved. This one's almost ready for final firing. The photos Hannah shared showed her supposed progression from beginner to intermediate skill level. Early images showed simpler forms with basic glazes, while later photos displayed more complex shapes and sophisticated color work. She'd explain the techniques she was learning, discuss challenges with different clay types, and share her instructor's feedback. We're learning about layering glazes this week, Hannah would tell me while scrolling through photos on her phone. You can create really interesting color effects by applying multiple glaze layers. This piece has 3 different glazes that interact during firing to create this pattern. She spoke knowledgeably about pottery concepts: wheel throwing, trimming, disc firing, glaze chemistry, kiln temperatures. The combination of her detailed technical knowledge and the visual evidence of her work made her pottery narrative completely believable. I had no reason to question any of it. About 6 months into Hannah's pottery classes, she showed me a photo of a particularly beautiful bowl she'd just completed. It was a stunning piece, perfect symmetry, smooth curves, curves, and a gorgeous blue-green glaze that seemed to shift in color depending on the light. Hannah was clearly proud of it. "This is my best work yet," she said, showing me the photo on her phone. "The instructor says this is gallery quality work. I'm thinking about keeping this one instead of giving it away or selling it." I looked at the photo of the bowl, and something about it triggered a vague sense of familiarity. I couldn't place why, but the image seemed like something I'd seen before. The specific color of the glaze, the way the light hit the surface, the angle of the photograph. Something about the composition felt familiar in a way I couldn't articulate. "Can you send me that photo?" I asked Hannah. "I'd love to show some people at work. It really is beautiful." Hannah texted me the image, and I saved it to my phone. The sense of familiarity continued to bother me throughout the evening. Or had I seen that bowl before? Had Hannah shown me the same image previously? Was it similar to something I'd seen in a store or online? The next day, during my lunch break, I decided to investigate the source of my nagging sense of recognition. I opened Google Images on my phone and used the reverse image search function to upload Hannah's pottery bowl photo. I expected the search might find similar-looking bowls or maybe pottery from the same studio where Hannah was supposedly taking classes. What appeared on my screen made my stomach drop. The exact image Hannah had shown me as her best work yet appeared in 47 different Pinterest pins. 47 different accounts had posted the exact same photograph. The image had been saved, reposted, and claimed by dozens of users as an example of beautiful pottery work, ceramic inspiration, or handmade crafts. I scrolled through the search results in disbelief. The photo appeared on Pinterest boards titled Pottery Inspiration, Ceramic Goals, Handmade Bowls, and various other collections. Some posts attributed the image to a pottery instructor in Oregon. Others credited a ceramic artist in North Carolina. Many posts had no attribution at all, just people sharing the image as an example of beautiful pottery work. The original source appeared to be from a professional pottery studio's website, where the bowl was shown as an example of intermediate-level student work from a class that had taken place 3 years earlier. The photo had been taken by the studio for their portfolio and had since been copied, shared, and reposted across the internet by countless people who found it inspirational or used it for their own purposes. Hannah's best work yet wasn't her work at all. It was a stolen image that dozens of other people had also stolen and claimed as their own pottery achievement. With growing dread, I began reverse searching the other pottery photos Hannah had shown me over the past 7 months. Every single image came back with multiple matches across Pinterest, Instagram, pottery blogs, and ceramics websites. Not one photo was original. Hannah hadn't taken any of them. She'd been downloading popular pottery images from the internet and presenting them as documentation of her own creative work. "This is my first successful bowl," appeared on 19 Pinterest boards. "Learning to throw a cylinder," stolen from a pottery technique tutorial with 32 reposts. "My glazing experiment," originally from a ceramics instructor's Instagram, now posted by 28 different accounts. Every piece Hannah had proudly shown me as her own work was actually someone else's pottery that had become popular on social media and craft websites. She'd been curating a collection of stolen images and presenting them as evidence of her own creative journey to support an elaborate lie about how she was spending her Wednesday evenings. I sat at my desk feeling physically ill as I realized what this discovery meant. Hannah hadn't just been lying about attending pottery classes. She'd been systematically downloading popular pottery images that would seem believable as beginner to intermediate work and presenting them as her own creations. The fact that the same images had been stolen and reposted by dozens of other people suggested this was a known method for creating false documentation of non-existent pottery classes. That evening, after putting our sons to bed, I confronted Hannah. I had my laptop open to a screen showing her best work yet all alongside all 47 Pinterest pins where the exact same image appeared. "How was pottery class tonight?" I asked. "Really productive," Hannah said. "I started working on a new vase form. The instructor thinks I'm ready to try more complex shapes." "Before you start on that vase," I said, turning my laptop toward her, "can you explain why 47 other people on Pinterest have posted the exact same photo of the bowl you claimed was your best work yet?" Hannah's face went completely white. She stared at the screen showing the grid of identical images, unable to speak. "Actually, all of your pottery photos are stolen from the internet," I continued, pulling up more search results. "This bowl appears on 19 Pinterest boards. This vase is from a pottery studio in Oregon. Every single photo you've shown me over the past 7 months has been downloaded from somewhere online and presented as your own work." Hannah sat down heavily on the couch, still unable to formulate a response. "You haven't been taking pottery classes at all, have you?" I said. "You've been using stolen photos from popular Pinterest posts to support a fake story about where you spend your Wednesday evenings." The conversation that followed was devastating. Hannah admitted that there were no pottery classes. She'd been using Wednesday evenings to meet someone she'd connected with through her nonprofit work. They'd been meeting at hotels every week for the past 7 months, and she'd created the pottery class cover story complete with curated stolen images to make her regular absences seem seem legitimate. It started as just professional collaboration, Hannah said, though her explanation sounded rehearsed. We were working on a fundraising campaign together, and our professional relationship evolved into something personal. Wednesday evenings worked for both our schedules, and the pottery class story with supporting photos seemed believable. You didn't just lie about taking classes, I said. You researched popular pottery images, downloaded photos that would seem authentic for someone at your supposed skill level, and systematically presented them as your own work. You knew exactly what you were doing. You even made sure to show progression from simpler pieces to more complex work to make your fake journey seem realistic. Hannah couldn't provide any explanation that justified the level of premeditation her deception required. She'd spent time studying what believable pottery progression would look like, carefully selected images that matched that progression, and created detailed stories about techniques and instructor feedback to make her lies seem authentic. Who have you been meeting on Wednesday evenings? I asked. His name is Marcus, Hannah admitted. He's a development director for a partner nonprofit. We met during a joint fundraising event and started working together on campaigns. The professional relationship evolved into something more personal. The revelation that Hannah had been conducting a 7-month affair while using stolen Pinterest images to support her cover story made the betrayal exponentially worse. This wasn't an impulsive mistake. It was calculated, planned deception maintained with careful attention to creating believable visual evidence. How did you know to use stolen photos? I asked. Did Marcus suggest it? Was this something you planned together? I researched how to make a pottery class story believable, Hannah admitted. I found forums where people discussed cover stories for affairs, and several mentioned that having photos makes stories more credible. Some mentioned using Pinterest and Instagram images because pottery all looks similar enough that it's hard to question authenticity. The fact that Hannah had researched methods for creating believable cover stories for affairs, had found communities of people who shared deception techniques, and had deliberately chosen to use stolen photos based on that research showed how thoroughly she'd planned her betrayal. Over the following days, I learned more about Hannah's Wednesday evening routine and her relationship with Marcus. They'd been meeting almost every week for 7 months, and their relationship had become emotionally significant to both of them. They'd been discussing the possibility of leaving their respective relationships to be together openly. Marcus and I have talked about what our future could look like, Hannah admitted during one of our painful conversations. We've discussed whether what we have is strong enough to justify the complications of ending our marriages and dealing with custody arrangements. The fact that Hannah had been discussing our son's custody with her affair partner while using stolen pottery photos to facilitate their relationship made the betrayal almost unbearable. She'd been treating our family as something potentially disposable while maintaining her elaborate fiction supported by images stolen from 47 different Pinterest accounts. When I asked Hannah whether she wanted to try to save our marriage or pursue her relationship with Marcus, she claimed she was conflicted and needed time to think. But the 7 months of systematic deception and her discussions with Marcus about custody arrangements suggested she'd already made significant emotional decisions about our family's future. We attempted marriage counseling, but the sessions revealed that Hannah's affair had been facilitated by her feeling overwhelmed by the demands of parenting and career and seeking escape through a relationship that felt separate from those responsibilities. She'd created an entire secret life on Wednesday evenings while maintaining the appearance of being a committed wife and mother. I felt like I'd lost myself in being a mom and a professional, Hannah said during counseling. Wednesday evenings with Marcus felt like having an identity that was just mine, separate from all my obligations and responsibilities. The counselor helped us understand that while feeling overwhelmed by responsibilities is common in marriages with young children and demanding careers, responding by conducting a secret affair while using stolen photos to deceive your spouse represents a fundamental violation of trust that's nearly impossible to repair. Despite months of counseling, I couldn't rebuild confidence in someone who demonstrated such capacity for premeditated, systematic deception. Hannah hadn't just lied. She'd researched effective deception techniques, deliberately selected stolen images that 47 other people had also stolen, and created an elaborate false narrative specifically designed to exploit my trust and support. We separated 4 months later. Our divorce is being finalized now, with shared custody arrangements for our sons. Hannah's relationship with Marcus continued after our separation, and according to mutual friends, they recently moved in together. The experience taught me that in the age of social media, the most popular images are often the most stolen. Hannah's pottery bowl photo had seemed authentic because it showed real, beautiful pottery, but that same beauty is why 47 other people had also stolen it to use for their own purposes, whether deceptive or inspirational. The feeling of familiarity I'd experienced when seeing Hannah's best work yet had been my subconscious recognizing an image I'd probably scrolled past multiple times on social media without consciously registering it. That vague sense of recognition was my mind telling me something something was wrong before I could articulate why. I'm focusing now on co-parenting our sons and rebuilding a life based on honesty and genuine connection. The discovery of Hannah's stolen pottery photos taught me that visual evidence is only as reliable as its source, and that the most believable lies are often the ones supported by borrowed authenticity from real people's real achievements. Moment when I reverse searched Hannah's pottery photo, expecting to find nothing, and instead discovering 47 identical Pinterest posts taught me that sometimes the most elaborate deceptions can be exposed through simple verification. The same technology that enabled Hannah to steal photos and create false evidence also provided the tools to reveal her fraud, proving that in the digital age, even the most carefully curated lies leave traceable footprints that can't be erased.